Wages. Everything is provided when you get your pay-as-you-go pack, including your prepaid Maestro card. Call free 0800 915 2000 to get yours now. That's 0800 915 2000 or go online.
Welcome to Alternative Andalucia, where we explore the spiritual and esoteric mysteries that this region has to offer. There's a lot more to Andalucia than golf courses and beaches, as you're about to find out.
In today's show, we'll be going to the dolmens of Antequera to meet geopathic stress consultant Pedro Correz to find out about this fascinating historic site, as well as the curry lines that run beneath the Earth's surface. Then we'll be moving on to the Temple Garden on Magic Mountain, where we will meet Browne, who has built his very own sacred stone circle. Later in the show, we'll be meeting with Pedro again, so that he can explain about geopathic stress and how it can affect us all. Before finally meeting Terry Garcia at her home in San Pedro de Alicante to discover the importance of Feng Shui in the home.
These dolmens in Antequera have been here for over 5,000 years. Perhaps ancient man performed rites here to honour nature and the divine. But what do we really know? One man with a wealth of knowledge about these things is geopathic stress consultant Pedro Correz, who is also a local expert on sacred sites here in Andalucia.
Pedro has been exploring the sacred sites of Andalucia for many years, and I wanted to find out more about these dolmens from the man himself.
So Pedro, this is a beautiful site. This is called a dolmens, is that right?
It's a dolmen, yes.
And how old is it?
More than 5,000 years.
More than 5,000 years. That's incredible. Now, it's a very interesting structure.
Well, the more important here is this stone weighs nearly 200 tons.
Each piece?
The bigger. This one bigger. But you have 130 and 80 tons, 80,000 kilos.
Wow, so these stones above our heads, the roof, are absolutely enormous.
Yes.
And how did ancient man get them here?
There are many theories to bring this stone from there.
Because we've seen outside the demonstration of a slab on the logs,
yes,
and the rollers, and there's a theory that they will move this way, yes, by pulling them.
But this is with about 1 ton, 2 tons. But if we need to move 100 tons, 150 tons, 180 tons, I think it will be more difficult.
Virtually impossible.
And another thing is these columns.
Yes.
There are no weighting. It's only 2.
Oh, I see. So these columns, these pillars at first look as though they're holding the roof up.
But not holding the roof.
But they're not. They're actually freestanding.
Yes.
And what do you think is the significance of the well here?
The well is very important because there are 2 water currents crossing just here. It's one current is coming in this way, another current is in this way, in different height, different depth, and this well is put just in the center of the crossing.
So ancient man definitely had knowledge of how the water currents
of
were
course.
running underneath the earth.
I am completely sure they knew more than us.
Pedro went on to explain that there were underground currents of water running through this dolmen and that they converged at several significant points. These lines are called curry lines. Pedro was able to pinpoint exactly where they were using his dowsing rod, which changed direction when 2 curry lines crossed. I even had a go myself. Curry lines are channels of water beneath the ground which are electrically charged. These lines have numerous intersecting points. There are hundreds of Carrie lines running underneath the Earth's surface, and scientists have proved that there are increased levels of electromagnetic energy wherever these Carrie lines converge. Ancient man appears to have been able to detect them too.
Woo! I did it!
Yes.
Oh, fantastic.
There's the Carrie line.
It's very interesting, isn't it? Because I'm not gripping it at all, and it suddenly just spins around all by itself.
Yes.
Did this structure, this dolmen, have a religious significance?
For me, yes. This is completely sure. This is religious or spiritual or, well, it's to take connection within the humans and the spirits.
So it is some kind of temple?
For me, yes. Yes.
So what can modern man learn or experience or gain by coming to visit these dolmens today?
We learn, we need to learn from this stone why they think and why they do.
So you think that the construction people in this area, in Marbella, in Andalucia, all around, they could learn a lot from this?
Yes, of course, yes.
Do you think they will try?
I am learning from this, to make a building with 5,000 years age is really good construction. My house never will stay 5,000 years.
So these sacred sites were clearly very important to the people who lived here 5,000 years ago. Whether they wanted to celebrate life or death, ancient man marked their rites of passage using sacred structures in the landscape. And they were clearly very good builders, as many of them are still standing today. I wonder whether our modern buildings would fare so well. So ancient man clearly had great knowledge of nature and the stars and regarded them to be of great importance when constructing sacred sites. Now modern man seems to have lost touch with a lot of this ancient knowledge. However, lots of people in Andalucia are seeking to reconnect with the old ways dating back thousands of years. I'm here to meet Adrian and Alice, who've been studying the meaning and symbolism behind sacred sites for many years, and they have some insights of their own. So Alice, Adrian, so pleased to meet you in this beautiful, beautiful sacred space. Now could you tell me a little bit about it? How did it come about?
Well, since childhood I was really into sacred space, into sacred landscapes, because I lived in the West Country, and as a kid I used to wander across the fields and to the standing stones and the stone circles, and it sort of awakened something in me, in my youth, and it stayed with me all of my life and became a passion.
What exactly is a sacred space?
A sacred site is where you connect directly with your soul. It's not about preconditioning, it's not about I was born in this faith, it's about yourself and your connection to the universe. This place is not about so much ancient knowledge, but it's about the ancient and modern knowledge of self. If when you're connected to your heart, when you're connected to your intuition, then you're looking at a very different universe. It's like the true spirituality is like, to thy own self be true. It's like if we're true to ourselves, then we have an honest relationship with ourselves, then we can only have an honest relationship with other people.
Alice, if I could come to you.
Yeah.
You live on this mountain. You're a neighbour of Adrian's, aren't you?
Yes, my husband and I are.
You live here with Rod just down the mountain. What attracts you to this sacred site? What's so special about it for you?
Sacred space to me is something that is sanctified. I think, again, it's similar to what Adrian said. Something happens inside myself. I'm from Western Canada, from Vancouver, and there's a lot of North American Indian, or what we like to call now Aboriginal, natives live there. And I've always been very, very attuned and sensitive to their sacred sites and their sacred traditions and their ceremonies.
So, Alice, does it matter to you if a sacred space is actually ancient, or whether it's been made quite recently, such as this one, within our own lifetime?
There's a timelessness about sacredness. It doesn't exist in time as we know it. When something is dedicated, when something is what can I say? When it's dedicated to a statement of intent. The intent is to know ourselves more. And these sacred sites are helpers and friends to do that.
So is there anything particular to Andalucia which is attracting people who are into spirituality?
Southern Spain is the European California. So people come here to change their lives. They don't want to live in Britain and all its control and all the repression and things the way it is now, or other northern countries. They come here because of the sunshine, because of the open, cheery mentality of the locals, and the climatic thing. You know, you can do it here.
So I asked Adrian to show me around.
Circles, you know, throughout the world have been used for focusing energies. You know, if you create a circle, like the old mediums, they say, "Are you sitting at circle?" And in the ancient traditions, everything was in the circle because the circle was sacred, you know, to the Native Americans and to the ancient Europeans too. So the stone circle was a place where people gathered, focused their energy, and when you focus your energy in a circle, you amplify it.
Look at it, seems to have lots of bits of flint inside something else. Is it volcanic?
It's as far as I know, it's not volcanic. It's what's called a conglomerate. It was made somehow under the sea, but all these were little pebbles within the sea, and then it was all glued together with like a limestone. So it's an ancient rock. It's a very pretty rock, and it just happens to be the rock that's here because you don't move these too far.
So they're quite well spaced out. Was that because you thought, right, I've had enough, I'm not putting any more up there?
Well, it's about how many stones were available, and also I was working with an existing site which had olive trees on it, and as it turned out, there's a natural amphitheatre here, and the trees are equidistant with the stones. So it was almost like someone had designed this a very, very long time ago and was just waiting for someone to come along and put the finishing touches to it, which is to create the circle.
I asked Adrian what his Spanish neighbours had thought of all of this.
I had some people in the village thinking this was a cult going on here, but of course that was just, you know, I was the only foreigner at the time living here, and they wondered what the hell I was doing, creating stone circles. But now it's all been accepted, you know, it's all normal. People do yoga here, and yoga's okay.
So we've seen how beneficial it is to live in a sacred, harmonious environment, in tune with nature and the stars. Join us in part 2 as we see how we can try to remedy the disharmonious chaos that is often to be found in our cities and homes.
Econo Heat wall panel heaters are the efficient, versatile and low-cost solution to keep you warm in the winter. They are slim, easy to install and will save you 50% or more on your heating costs.
Oh, that was...
The rental haven't read. You can use it with a holiday.
Welcome back to Alternative Andalucia. In part 1 we saw how ancient sacred sites were built in harmony with nature and the stars. But what about our modern buildings? How can we ensure that they are also harmonious and in tune with nature and the earth energies around us?
One man who knows all about earth energies and their impact on our buildings is Geopathic stress consultant Pedro Correz. I went to meet him to discover how he works.
So Pedro, here we are in an apartment block. I've heard you get asked to help sort out geopathic stress.
Yes, it's my job.
What is it?
What is this? Is the energy coming from the air, and some places is bad for us.
So what most of us don't realise is that our homes could be built on negative energy spots, which can then become a problem if there is also too much electromagnetic interference around us. This is known as geopathic stress.
Now, can you show me how you actually measure some of these things?
Well, I have a few instruments to check. This is the low frequency.
Okay, low frequency.
Yes. And then look, it works. This is magnetic. If I move the magnetic field.
Now, why is it bad for us to be living
Of
near
course.
magnetic?
Yes, because if I move this, if I move this is magnetic field in my brain, I start electricity.
Okay.
Low electricity, but electricity, and it is interference with all electricity. This is starting the process.
Okay.
This is.
And this is generated by what? By computers and television?
Well, on normal electricity of the house.
Okay, okay.
Just to check the normal electricity of the house. This is to check from broadcasting or mobile phones, antennas, no? It's different.
Mobile phones, television, satellite?
Television, and this is different frequency, no? This is a spectrum analyzer.
Okay.
This is different.
Okay, can we see that working? Does that make any noises?
Yes.
Oh, look at that.
This is the power of electricity in this point as different point. It's analyzer.
So if I move that around, is anything going to happen? Oh, look at that. It's gone to 45. Minus 45 now.
Yeah.
Oh.
By using his instruments, Pedro can monitor exactly how much electromagnetic interference there is in our environment, which can be caused by mobile phones, computers, and even television masts. There is some evidence to suggest that too much electromagnetic interference can cause health problems. So what can we do to minimise the risks? In a lot of cases, changing where you sleep can make a big difference. But in some cases, Pedro's advice would be to move to another property altogether. It might sound a bit drastic, but perhaps a geopathic stress survey will be a regular occurrence before we decide where to move to in the future.
So all of these environmental factors, some of which you cannot change. But if it's to do with the magnetic stress or magnetic fields, you can make changes in your house to cure it.
Yes, of course. But I prefer to start before to build the house, before to buy the plot. Okay. It's more important, before.
Okay, so if you've got any plans to buy that plot of land up on the mountains or on the seafront, to build that ideal home in Andalucia, you know where to come before you start. Thank you very much, Pedro.
Thank you.
More recently, we have realised that the earth energies do have an impact on our buildings and that they can be responsible for problems within our homes. Now, Feng Shui is the ancient Chinese art of correcting these energetic imbalances and restoring harmony once again to our buildings.
I wanted to find out more about Feng Shui, and where better to start than one of the Costa del Sol's busiest areas, Marbella.
Terry Garcia runs her business in the thriving heart of Marbella. She's been studying the Feng Shui of the area for many years and has given hundreds of people invaluable advice on solving the problems in their homes. I'm here with Terry now to find out what this Feng Shui is all about. Hello, Terry. Thank you for inviting us to your wonderful home. Now,
you're welcome.
What exactly is Feng Shui?
Well, it's all about trying to make energy flow correctly throughout the house, because we are beings of energy. We do need to live, we do need to have life, and we need to have that life force, and sometimes it can be blocked within a property, and we don't receive enough of this energy, and that's when we have problems. So it's all about finding where the blockages are, trying to enhance the places where it is working really well and it's beneficial, and really trying to get the best out of your home.
So when you go to somebody's house, how do you set about trying to make the Feng Shui right?
Well, we look at different degrees on the compass. We look at that property and how it's orientated. We look at the door, we look at how the energy is flowing within the house, how much harmony there is within the elements, and how that person is in harmony with the house in a way.
I understand you work with this lovely compass. Shall we have a look at that?
Let's have a look at the... Oops, can we get it? This is the
Wow,
compass.
that's just magnificent. Can you tell me what happens when you go around someone's house? Do you start with this compass?
You have to start with this. Well, in the sense, you have to take accurate measurements. Very important, the measurements, because we could say something's facing south, but, you know, there's quite a few degrees there in south. And as you can see on this compass, even within the south, you know, here we have all these different boxes, and all these dots here say something else. So you can see the difference, you know, how accurate it is between the degrees. They all have a different story.
So what about the Feng Shui of Marbella? Is there anything specific to this area?
Well, as a region, the construction has been overwhelming. So it has continuously, you know, the feng shui of houses has continuously been changing. You know, one morning you haven't got anything outside, and all of a sudden you've got a block of flats. That has changed the feng shui of Marbella. Also, the input of the new road. So we have had a major, motorway has been going for the last 10 years or so, and that has really changed feng shui.
So you'd say, would it help the area, or has it been detrimental?
One very curious aspect of Marbella in such as Puerto Banús, the national road from Barcelona to Cadiz used to run all the way through the little towns. The only place really where that road has not been turned around or gone on the outskirts of the town, it has in Marbella, but it comes to Puerto Banús, and it actually feeds Puerto Banús and then comes through to San Pedro here in San Pedro's town of Marbella, and it gets blocked. So Puerto Banús does have fantastic feng shui in the fact that a lot of energy is being fed into Puerto Banús.
What about the big mountain behind us?
Lovely, yes.
Does this have any impact on the sort of Chinese approach to feng shui?
Well, Marbella has the perfect feng shui formation with a mountain behind and the sea in front. But the mountain is so powerful, it's such a curious shape, a very strong shape, very close to the town, in a certain position that is very important during this period.
So what about all the people who are living up in the mountain villages? Do they have good feng shui as well, or are they giving all of their energy to people down in the costas?
Well, they have different feng shui, don't they? They just, you know, depending where you live, you have a different influence of elements. The coasts are good feng shui because it's the money that comes in.
Oh, so basically anywhere on the costa is very beneficial.
Yeah.
Wow. So what can you do if a property is not 100% fine? Is the advice really to just don't go there whatsoever, or can you actually make the best of a bad job?
You can make lots of improvements. I mean, we don't really ever have 100% property. We have a 70% good feng shui property. We normally come across properties that are 30-40% good in the feng shui, and the rest we can make changes. You know, colours, furniture placement, angles of doors, buildings. The garden can have a big influence on the feng shui, what we do in the garden. So there's lots of things we can do.
So Terry gave me a guided tour of the feng shui in her own home.
The front door is really important, how it opens and how you enter the property, as that's where the energy comes in.
Okay.
So it should open correctly, it should have no obstruction, and it should be bright and colourful when you actually come in.
So now we're in the hall. Is there anything specific about the hall?
Yeah, well, I had to, this property is very dark, there's no windows here at all, and I had to put a strong light. I tried to put some strong colours in and some pictures. So, you know, we've got a red carpet, we've got a strong colour painting, something to feel enlightened, because as you come in the door, this is your first impression, so it's very important that it is nice.
Okay. So what about colours and lighting? Does that have any significance at all?
Oh, it's very important. It's very important. When we don't have natural daylight, we have to try and use artificial light. A lot of properties have dark areas. They don't have natural daylight, you know, and one of the places I'd like to show you is my hall. Oh, okay, it's a very dark hall. So I have to try and use warmer colours to increase the warmth feeling.
So this is your kitchen. Tell us about the feng shui here.
Well, I'm not happy at all with the feng shui here. In a few weeks, we're actually going to change it out completely and reorganise it. There's too much white in here. The floor's white. That's not practical, let alone feng shui.
So you're actually going to end up with a much bigger kitchen?
I'm going to end up with a changed around kitchen.
Begins to come out.
This is the terrace, and as we live in Spain, terraces are very important. You know, you do spend a lot of the time here. I mean, it's very sunny, we spend most of the day here, so it's important to keep this activated. But what I'd like to point out about this terrace is the fact that if we took a bird's eye view of the property, you'd actually see that on the floor plan there's a chunk missing.
Oh, I see. Is that this corner
which is
over
this
here?
corner here, and we'd call this the missing area.
So Terry has cured the missing area of her apartment by placing lots of plants next to it.
So plants in your home can actually be very significant.
They can be very significant, they can be very helpful, they can help balance the energy In this case, they're helping balancing a missing area. But you have to be careful where you put the plants. There's some areas that plants don't go too well.
Okay, and it's not always to do with light?
No.
So now we've seen how the sacred geometry of ancient sites can teach us how to live more harmoniously in our everyday lives. Join us next time as we discover more hidden treasures in Andalucia that will enrich your mind, body and soul.